The biggest mistake men make about approaching a woman is assuming that she doesn't want to be approached. Men will turn into mind readers and assume they know exactly what a woman's thinking before they even talk to her. When you do this, you are completely eliminating the chance of finding love. You're not psychic. You don't know if she's into you until you talk to her, have a conversation, and get her phone number at the end. It's either going to be yes or no, so just take a chance. Stop psyching yourself out.
No.
Oh, woman, that is just irresponsibly ignorant. You can't put the blame on us for the complete destruction of human pair bonding. Modern women have been a broken record on this subject. The only men that are to approach you are known as the Great Chidini when he's looking for yet another gorgeous assistant for his magical disappearing table saw act. The rest of us are nothing but ugly creepers who apparently are going on violent crime sprees with zero legal repercussions, and apparently the only deterrent to this are bears. So which one is it, sister? You can't blame us for not approaching us and then accuse us of being inhuman monsters who commit crimes all the time. If you want a man to desire you, you gotta stop making excuses, woman. Stop being a coward and approach. You demanded your turn at the wheel, but you conveniently forgot that you suck at driving, and we don't need to be mind readers to tell you that little tidbit.
I know it, your family knows it. Dogs know it.
Women are not meant to work 9-to-5 jobs. I've said this before and I'll say it again. We shouldn't have to work 9-to-5 jobs. Women are meant to go to Pilates class, tan by a pool, read a good book, take care of the children, make good food, and be provided for by a man.
Really?
You just described a lazy jerk who contributes nothing to society, lady. Let's just break down what you said. Of that list, you mentioned 2 responsibilities of a housewife, and the remaining things were just leisure activities. Women aren't exempt from work and responsibilities, they're just meant to do different things. Now, ideally speaking, the man's job is to work, provide for, and protect his family. The woman's job is to take care of the kids, keep a stable home, and bring peace to her man. And you, on the other hand, make TikTok videos where you put your vanity on full display for the entire planet to witness, act like you're better than a majority of the men who would have been happy to take care of you back when you had some value, and you act like a spoiled brat. And it's that constant series of actions that's preventing you from that life of cooking good food and reading good books, even though the jury is still out on whether or not you can do either one.
There's no way a woman can be in her feminine energy if she's sitting at a 9-to-5 job where she's unhappy. First part is there's women out there that are having to fill that masculine role in the office, getting things done because they have to be. They're covering bills. They're paying for half of dinner when a man should be paying for the tab every time.
I honestly wish I could say that it's shocking how modern women will brag about doing the bare minimum to be considered a functioning adult in today's society, while at the same time shaming men for not buying them food. Modern women love to use the patriarchy as both the reason and the excuse for their unattractive behavior. Nobody told you to be masculine, lady. You really didn't have to be. You could have stayed feminine and attracted a man to take care of you. In fact, men have been trying to do that, and you were told that going to work sucks, and you told us to shut up because the patriarchy kept you from marrying an oil tycoon, and you angrily declared that you could do the same work as a man does, but even better. But you forgot something. Just because you treated your reproductive organs like an overworked oil derrick doesn't mean you can actually work at one.
When did we as a society decide that women should go to a 9-to-5 job, feel some gratification, instead of staying at home with the kids?
Like, people talking, you say, huh? What are you talking about?
If a woman wants to work part-time so she can spend more time with her kids at home, she should be able to do that. And don't get me wrong, if you want to work a 9-to-5 job, you go do that. But I'm just saying, women shouldn't have to.
And you get a reaction from people who say, huh? What do you talk about?
I hate to break it to you, sister, but society had nothing to do with it. You and the last 3 generations of women demanded entry into the workplace. You literally voted for it, and it was given to you on a silver platter. and you thought the duties of a housewife were oppressive, so you demanded release from the oppressive shackles of being a housewife and traded them for the oppressive shackles of being a working stiff. And local economies love the idea of women working because it drastically increased tax revenue as well as the cost of living for average families, thus tightening the shackles of oppression on innocent families who are just trying to get by and are now forcing you to do a job you never wanted in the first place to live a life you realized was a rotten bill of goods. And yet here you are, furious with society for giving you everything you could ever possibly want. And I have yet to see a union contract that includes time for you to whine while on the clock. So I'm gonna kindly ask you to close your mouth and get your ass back to work like the rest of us.
Don't go away, man. Just go away.
Would you rather date someone that makes spicy content for the whole world to see,
First world, praise the Lord for prostitutes.
or be single and lonely for the rest of your life? Let me know.
I'll just move to North Korea. I'll just move to North Korea. Okay? Okay. I'll just move to North Korea.
Oh, woman, you are just embarrassing yourself. The question you asked is effectively the same question twice. Being in a relationship with you would be the exact same thing as being alone, but at least with being alone, we'd preserve our dignity. You're expecting a man to be okay with you exploiting your body parts for cash, and that's something no self-respecting man would ever tolerate. In fact, they would be embarrassed to even be associated with you in the most minor of levels. The only way they'd be more embarrassed is if they knew that you stood out in the rain overnight to be the first one to buy front row seats to a Bryan Adams concert. You know what? Scratch that. At least a Bryan Adams concert goer has enough common sense not to tell anybody that they're going to a Bryan Adams concert, and that's something that disappeared from your life a long time ago. So let me ask you this, darling. Would you rather be alone for the rest of your life? Well, it's a trick question. There's no second part. That's what's going to happen.
See you later!
Talk about how exhausting being single is. And of course, there's so many ways in which I am grateful that I'm single and not in some horrific relationships, but sweet lord. And it's not just the obvious things like people relentlessly asking, why are you single? Which is just a hard, why are you asking me that? And just like not being able to afford things because everything is priced for two people, whether it's like I want to live alone, can't afford to do that. Council tax, why do I only get 25% off when if there was two of us we'd be halving it? Holidays, everything is 2 people per room. Like I want to go away for a weekend, just like a little staycation, can't do that.
Give me some money. Give me some money.
You know, all of this could have been easily prevented if you just accepted the fact that you're just an average broad and went after an average dude. I mean, seriously, woman, it's not that difficult. You just find a guy that's within your league and do the best you can within your means. But for some reason, that's not even understood by the encyclopedia brain of the intergalactic space god Go Blagard, all hail, you decided that despite your blatant mediocrity in the looks and intellect department, you decided that you were entitled to more. Hence why you find yourself single and can't afford a vacation, rent, or any of the other amenities that more or less require 2 incomes in order to sustain.
But I find it's more than that. There's a lot of more subconscious things that I do or feel that I didn't realise I was doing and feeling because they're like so ingrained in me. And again, like I love being alone. I'm someone who needs to be alone to like recharge, and often I just need to be alone. So this isn't how I feel all of the time, but it gets you. Like I'm always someone who gets FOMO when my friends go out. I'll get an invitation out or to a party or to somewhere and I kind of don't really want to go. Like I'd rather not, but I feel like this guilty feeling that I need to go, and I'll drag myself out. And most of the time I'll have a lot of fun, but then sometimes you're just like, oh god, that wasn't worth it. Like I wish I stayed at home. And I've always been like, why do I get this feeling? Like why can't I just like have a night off? Like why? I'm not like an alcoholic or whatever. But then I've realised it's because every opportunity out is an opportunity to meet someone, and it's like, what if that is the time I could meet someone?
Pathetic.
Oh sure, you're definitely living the happy single life. We can tell by your exhausted eyes and demeanor that you're just living the #1 top tier best life. And the fact that you just want to abandon hope and not go out anymore just shows that you are perfectly content with the fact that you're a modern woman with zero dating prospects, despite the fact that you have a massive pool of guys with which to choose. It's come to the point where you'd rather be miserable and alone than risk dating a guy who doesn't tick all of the boxes, because if you did that, what on earth would you have to talk about? You have grown so accustomed to being alone that you'd rather sabotage yourself than risk the prospect of maybe finding a halfway decent guy and moving on with the next chapter of your life before it's too late. And that would be depressing if you didn't constantly bring it on yourself.
Like, especially if you've exhausted all areas in your life and you kind of do want to meet someone like in person because you're not very good at dating apps or whatever, like there's just this feeling that you have to grab every opportunity you get to potentially meet someone new. And that also goes hand in hand with people who often feel lonely. Like, I do feel lonely sometimes, so like every opportunity you get where you're invited to a situation, you want to grab it so you don't lose that, and like you can keep hold of it because you don't know when those invitations are going to come again.
Ridiculous.
That's just it, lady. You're so lonely to the point where you think that any night will be the magical night where you finally meet your soulmate as you're dragging out your half unconscious friend from the bar into an Uber, which may or may not be the one you actually called. And you're trying to make that sound like it's the beginning of some romance story that somehow combines serendipity with trying to get your best friend to a toilet before she pukes all over yet another Uber. And that is just not how life works. You don't need to have a fear of missing out. Just find a guy that you think is attractive, walk up to him, say 4 words, and see if he responds. And if he doesn't, then try again with someone else. It is not that complicated. We would do that if we didn't run the risk of having to make a court appearance for a false allegation. Oh yeah, and thanks for that, by the way. It's not like our lives were complicated enough without that on our plates.
And of course, again, like there's the assumptions that when you go away, you'll be flexible because you're the single person, so you won't get the double bed, you'll be the one sleeping on the floor, you're the one who has to squeeze in the middle of the car, you're the one who has to do all these things, because why get 2 people to change when you're one person? And back to when people do ask you why you're single all the time, it's so much easier to pretend you're single by choice rather than you're single because, what, no one wants to date you? Or what, you've been so used to being alone and you've become hyper independent that now you've actually gone too far and you don't know how to let anyone in or talk to anyone, so now you're still single 26 years later.
Say what now, what now?
Nobody wants to date you. Are you freaking kidding me? You're a single woman in the midst of the catastrophic tsunami known as the loneliest period in human history. I'm not joking. You could literally go outside, find a dude, and if he's single, you'll have a 95% chance of getting a phone number and a date. It's literally impossible that every single man you've ever talked to does not want to date you. The only way that could be even remotely plausible is if you openly and proudly told every man you came across that you sell babies on the black market, and even then, I am fairly certain you'll catch the eye of at least one dastardly underground profiteer. But even then, he'd probably just want you to take over your territory so he can expand his business of people selling people to people. You're so obsessed with this idea of being alone for the rest of your life that you'd rather just throw a pity parade online than do something as simple as shooting your shot. And if you want to do that, more power to you. Just make sure you stock up on some boxed wine now, because I hear at the wall, it can get kind of chilly. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button, ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and share this video so we can get together and give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.